off your next service call with AC Designs. Make the right call and go to acdesignsjax.com today.
Introducing the all-new delivery pouch from Pizza Hut. Thanks to 3 layers of thermal insulation, your pizza arrives oven hot. It's like having our oven right in your kitchen. Well, pretty close. Try it with the best pizza delivery deal. Large 2 topping, just $7.99. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Morgan & Morgan is at Pound Law on your cell phone. That's pound 529.
The Mom 12-Step Program.
The estrogen patch is helping?
I am dry in all the right places now.
Mom on CW17.
Updates on results that made you scream.
I hate Jim!
What happened to these horror show relationships?
When your man come home, you check his...
Maury Halloween updates on the next Maury.
Tomorrow at 4 on CW17.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of 1010XL Tonight. Frank Frangie and Jeff Prosser. What a weekend it was. A firing over the weekend.
Wow. To quote the great immortal Ron Burgundy of Anchorman fame, that escalated quickly.
Boy, did it ever. You better believe it. There's no question now. We've got a little something we call the big thing. Pretty obvious what that big thing is this week. Jim McElwain fired as the coach of the Florida Gators 2.5 years in. Wins the East, year 1. Wins the East, year 2. Fired midway through year 3. Bizarre happenings at the University of Florida. Jim McElwain out. Jeff, weird deal.
Yeah.
I think he tweaked the administration one time too many. The death threat thing certainly angered everybody. Questioning the facilities. And, oh, by the way, the team wasn't very good. If any of those were different, I think he'd still be the coach.
Well, listen, this goose was cooked as it was reported really before the game Saturday. You know, Jim McElwain, I'm told, before the game Saturday, told his team right before they ran on the field that he was getting fired? Really?
Yeah.
Weak. Very weak. And so I imagine that level of behavior is happening in other aspects of the university as well. The offense has been terrible. He's never found a quarterback. But what really strikes me about this is the incredible pace for this fall from grace. I mean, we're not talking about one season to the next or 1 month to the next. Literally last Monday, we're sitting in this chair talking about a Florida team had another disappointing loss, but there's a lot of reasons for it, suspensions and injuries. And now, 1 week later, we'll be talking later about who the next coach at the University of Florida might be.
Yeah, the press conference was a little bit bizarre. Scott Strickland pretty much said, look, I like the guy. I like Mac. I think he's a good man. But at the same time, it's time. Well, what does that mean? I think it means he wasn't a good fit. More than anything else, Jeff, excuse me, I think there's a question as to whether or not the guy fit Florida. He was quirky. He was odd. His jokes weren't very funny. And I think at the end of the day, you can't criticize your AD and your administration all the time. We'll see if our administration's committed. Be careful when you say that. When he was asked about homecoming, LSU this year, he said, you guys can't imagine how little say I have and stuff like that. I think he said that stuff too many times. Here's the weird thing. You and I have had this talk. I thought Zook got it too early. I know you didn't, but I thought he got fired too early. He was my buddy, so I'm biased. I thought Muschamp got it maybe too early, although he had his 4th year. This guy, I don't like firing coaches early. Yeah. This guy's getting it early, and I'm kind of okay with it. I think it's okay.
Say what you want about Ron Zook and Will Muschamp. They didn't embarrass the University of Florida like Jim McElwain has in the last week. I mean, it's embarrassing to go in front of an audience of the media and imply strongly that you have recently gotten death threats. And then, oh, well, when I meet with the athletic director, actually, that was ages ago. Well, you know, I think Jim McElwain was guilty of taking the tenor of fandom these days, which is accurate, the vitriol, the hate that's out there, and maybe some past instance of getting a death threat, and then present it to everyone as if it was current. And then you know what it looks like? It looks like you're making a big crybaby sympathy play because you're about to go up to Jacksonville, and Georgia's going to beat the teeth out of you. Right. So, you know, it couldn't have ended any weirder, and it all started less than a week ago.
All right, well, speaking of the coaching position, we'll talk later on in the program about possible replacements. Meanwhile, speaking of Jacksonville, Jeff, it was an ugly scene Saturday afternoon.
Well, it's ugly if you're a Florida Gator and you're choked up about it, obviously.
I am
I
choked
can see
up.
that that's happened.
Can't
it's okay.
get through it.
It's okay,
It really
big guy.
bothered me that
It'll
loss.
be all right. I know
42-7. Have you heard?
You know what I was waiting? I thought it'd been a nice touch at the end of the game if Kirby Smart could have subbed Herschel in. You know, just for old time's sake. Maybe he could rattle off a 77-yarder.
They completed 4 passes. It felt like the Herschel.
Well, and again, this goes to your head coach informing a bunch of 18, 19, and 20-year-olds minutes before they take the field as a huge underdog that this is going to be your last game. Unconscionable, this last act of, cowardice, quite frankly, by Jim McElwain. So that's the word that the players are leaking out. So I'm going to go with it as truth. And if it's not, then, well, Jim McElwain can have fun at his next stop.
And they played Felipe Franks.
Georgia's really good. Let's don't lose that and all this.
Georgia's got a very good team. They played Franks too long. Obviously, he's not ready.
Yeah, that started in September.
He was shell-shocked, Jeff. I was on the field. I saw him come off the field. He was shell-shocked. He clearly wasn't ready. They were resistant to play Zaire. I don't know if Malik Zaire is anything great, but they need to try him. Tough day for Jim McElwain, no question about it. Meanwhile, you said it. Georgia's got a really good football team. They completed 4 passes. They won 42-7. They only ran 42 plays, and they scored all those points. The running backs are legit. The defense is legit. I think Kirby Smart is legit. I think they've got a good team. They've got the right coach. Look out for the Bulldogs. They're for real.
I agree with you that they're for real, or certainly trending that way, but I will just give one disclaimer. Florida stinks. Georgia's schedule this year, which is usually tougher with Tennessee and Florida on it, has not been tough at all. These are mediocre football teams they're beating. And the real rubber meets road for Georgia now comes in the home stretch. They're going to have to play Auburn.
Right.
They're going to have to play Georgia Tech, who beat them last year and who's gimmicky enough to bother you. And then they're going to have to play Alabama in the SEC championship game. So the first college football playoff rankings are going to come out tomorrow. And Georgia fans, rejoice. You're going to be in that top 4. Staying there, especially with Ohio State coming, and this, compulsion, I think, by the committee to get 4 different areas of the country in, it gets tougher from this point for Georgia.
Word on the street, though, Florida is not the only team with problems in North Florida. Have you heard this?
Yeah, I don't know why Jimbo Fisher has stayed so under the radar, but let's be clear about one thing. Now, I know they lost Jacques Patrick last week, and they've lost a receiver a couple of weeks ago. This team is not decimated enough to lose 35-7 to Boston College. Jimbo Fisher is going to find himself on a hot seat, amazingly enough, just, within 4 or 5 years of winning a national title. But at the end of the day, I think Jimbo Fisher is now 50-26, 50-23, 27-1 with Jameis Winston. So do some math and do some subtraction, and it's a whole different ball game when he hasn't had Jameis. Now, look, a lot of coaches can say that, but yeah, I'm nervous if I'm an FSU fan because this was supposed to be a great defense and a good team, and it's neither.
Because of how bad. Nervous because of how bad they got. I think the one thing that really concerns you is how bad this team is. They're 2-5. Their 2 wins are Wake and Duke, and both those teams had a shot at the end zone at the end of the game, or they wouldn't have won those 2 games. I don't think we've ever been this wrong about a team. I thought FSU was flat. I thought they quit. I never thought I'd say that Jimbo Fisher has lost a team because I think he's a terrific coach. He's lost this team. Jeff, they've got to gut that staff. He's got to make wholesale changes. They're a terrible football team. 35-3 against Boston College. Awful football team. They had it late on them. I'm shocked, absolutely shocked that FSU struggled this badly.
It's going to be a pillow fight in Gainesville at the end of November.
Boy,
yeah, they're just going to each bring out big cotton fluffy pillows and whack each other.
There is some Jaguar news report, by the way. Let's get to the NFL. Here's some good news. The Jaguars came up on the trade deadline, and how about this? On the trade deadline, when everybody said improve the offense, I like what they did. They doubled down on defense. The one thing they didn't have is a big 2-gap guy. Marcel Darius is a big physical defensive tackle. Boy, I like the move.
I like the show when 2-gap makes it. Once 2-gap makes the show, we're officially a show. Look, here's the deal with Darius. Think how good Malik Jackson and Calais Campbell have been. Marcel Darius comes to the Jaguars with a better resume than either one of those guys had coming here.
Right.
This guy is a superstar player. Now, in the act of fair and balanced, one thing has to be said. Marcel Darius has already got a 2-gamer for smoking the weed.
Right.
And then he got a 4-gamer for the substance abuse. You're one mistake away from the 10-gamer. Now, I don't know what the track record and history is on the 2-4 dynamic and who goes on to stop and never get to 10, but he's got to be managed. He's had you know, they've had some discipline problems with Marcel Darius in Buffalo.
But I will say this. The one thing that defense didn't have is a big physical run stuffer. The one thing they weren't great at was stopping the run. They're great at everything else. Now they stop the run, too, if it works out. I love the move.
I love
down
it, too.
where you're good. I think they've got a great chance. So we will see how good they will be. By the way, we always want to hear what you have to say. We do it every week. We call it Twitter time, and let's say hello to our friend Donna Murphy. Hey, Donna.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Happy Halloween Eve to you all. There was scary moves, we could say, at Everbank Field on Saturday by the Gators, and the Jaguars defense looks scary good. So let's hear from the experts and answer your questions. All you have to do is use the hashtag AskFrankandJeff, and you can get your questions answered. First up from @TheRealMamaK, does this painful FSU season remind you of the end of Bobby's tenure?
Well, I mean, the end of Bobby's tenure, you knew it was the end of Bobby's tenure, so it had its own special feel. No, this feels like a team that's underachieving. And, you know, they were a 10-win team last year, beat Michigan in the Orange Bowl. So, you know, I think we can tap the brakes. It's not like Jimbo Fisher has lost it and it's time to make a change, but it is fair to really express a ton of surprise that the Noles are struggling like they are this year. So, no, it doesn't necessarily – it reminds me more of Will Muschamp going 4-8 in Gainesville.
Yeah, and it's a wake-up call, too. Jimbo Fisher's going to be there a long time. He's a good football coach. I think Jimbo got a little complacent. I'm not going to fire my coaches. I know more than the fans. I know more than the media. I'm not going to – well, now he's going to have to change things a little bit. I think wake-up call more than anything else. Donna, what else have you got for us?
Yeah, staying with college and the coaches, Mac and Jimbo. What the heck happened to these two teams in the last couple of months?
You know what? It's interesting that it happened the same year, didn't it? You never thought that would happen. Two entirely different seasons. I think Jimbo got a little complacent. We said that a moment ago. I think with Jim McElwain, wrong fit, wrong guy. But you said it a minute ago. Your point is a good one, Jeff. When they play each other, it's going to be, what, like 8 a.m. on E! Network? I mean, who wants this game? I mean, it's astounding that it happened in the same year.
Well, and I think what's happened now with Jim McElwain as you know, compared to Jimbo Fisher, I think Jimbo Fisher is going to get a pass for having a bad year, and the pressure will be turned up on him next year. Not fireable pressure, but pressure. But I think Jim McElwain, now you look, and if you objectively analyze how his entire career went, you say, look, the good teams, he got crushed. If the Gators gave up more than 14, they were like 17-12. If they gave up 14 or less, yeah, 13-0. The guy never delivered on any offense. So the mess in Gainesville, even though the record is better than Tallahassee, I mean, you're changing coaches. That's a lot bigger mess.
I'm wondering who they're going to get. That's what I wonder.
Well, how about we kick that around next segment? Some good guys out there. I think a lot of Gator Nation is excited about a coaching change. Sure. So let's hit some of those candidates next on 1010XL tonight.
Introducing the all-new delivery pouch from Pizza Hut. Thanks to 3 layers of thermal insulation, your pizza arrives oven hot. It's like having our oven right in your kitchen. Well, pretty close. Try it with the best pizza delivery deal. Large 2 topping, just $7.99. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
You've probably heard, if you drive a Subaru, you'll buy a Subaru. Well, at Jack Hanania's Subaru of Orange Park, it's much more personal than that. We ask questions and answer yours. Then, out of the hundreds in stock, we find the model and price that work for you. Finally, after we've given you all the service you deserve, plus 2 years complimentary maintenance, that's when you buy a Subaru. Buying a Subaru should be more than just driving one. It is at Subaru of Orange Park. We've got the new Subaru for you.
I'm David Robbins with the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. When you or someone you know is arrested, you will go in front of a judge within a matter of hours, and the decisions you make at that time can have a serious and permanent impact on your life. Time is of the essence. That's why we're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to help. If you or a loved one is arrested, call Epstein & Robbins immediately. We can be by your side for those crucial moments. Visit FLDUIDefense.com. We're Epstein & Robbins, and we're here to help.
When it comes to tough, versatile workhorses, nothing compares to Kubota's full line of RTV Series utility vehicles. Engineered to last and designed to deliver, Kubota's RTV X Series doesn't just lead the way on rugged dependability, it leads the pack. From big jobs to small projects and daily chores. Choose from America's top-selling family of diesel utility vehicles to help you do it all.
Visit McClenny Equipment and Tractor or click metractor.com.
A hidden camera show where the joke is on us.
Walk away and come back wearing nothing except your apron.
Jesse? Did you need something?
Catching practical jokers on CW17.
Welcome back, everyone, to 1010XL tonight. Frank Frangie and Jeff Prosser. Florida's got a coaching opening, so who might they go get? You've seen the list of candidates. Jeff, let's run through. There's a big list here.
Yeah.
Let's run through kind of who we think some of the guys are. I'm going to go through all of them. Mullen, Frost, Norvell from Memphis, Matt Campbell, Taggart, Durkin, Babers, Kelly, Fuente, and Brom. I think you start with those two at the top.
Not a lot of bad choices on there.
Yeah, but aren't Mullen and Frost the ones people are talking about?
I guess I wouldn't be big on the Dan Mullen hiring myself.
Why not?
Well, look, I think that Florida has proven that unless they have a great coach, they're not going to get the results that this fan base is going to scream for. And Urban Meyer and Steve Spurrier are Hall of Fame coaches, bottom line. I think if Dan Mullen were a great coach, as good as the limited success he's had in Mississippi State, I think it would flash even more. So I don't think that Dan Mullen comes in and takes Florida to the level where the boosters and fans apparently expect them to be.
Doing due diligence, last night I watched a lot of UCF tape. Actually, I just YouTubed. Okay, YouTube on my phone. UCF, all they do is score, man. One time they scored in the 70s. Twice they scored in the 60s. Another time they scored in the 50s. Another time they scored in the 40s. The other two times in the 30s. They've played 7 games. They have not been under 30 yet. They've been in the 70s and the 60s. They look like Oregon. I mean, he plays like that. Go get Scott Frost. Open up the checkbook. Bring him like now. Wouldn't that be fun? Scott Strickland said at that press conference he wanted it to be fun, right? What would be more fun than Scott Frost throwing it all over the yard?
Well, and there's more than that. Scott Frost took over a UCF program that was winless the year before he got there. Went to a bowl in his first year. In his second year, he's threatening to go to a New Year's Bowl. He's 7-0 and leading the nation in scoring. He's young. He's only 40 years old. This is the perfect hire for the University of Florida, who would bring the kind of offense and the kind of winning that Gator fans want. So, I mean, as I look at that list preliminarily, Scott Frost to me is the perfect candidate because he's young enough to grow with your program for the next 10 years.
Yeah, I do think it'll be a young guy. I think if it's not Frost, it might be Mike Norvell from Memphis. It might be a guy you haven't heard a lot about. I think that may be the way they go. It's not Stoops. I don't think it's Chip Kelly. I don't think it's a veteran guy. I think it's going to be a young guy. So I think Frost is the one that's going to get all the attention. Now, look, he's a Nebraska guy. He's from Nebraska, and Nebraska's job is going to open. They're going to fire Mike Riley. So there's a chance it could wind up being Scott Frost could wind up going to Nebraska. It'll be one of those other guys on that list. But as I look down, Matt Campbell, I think, could get in play.
Iowa State, yeah.
And I think he's a hot guy right now. I don't think Taggart's leaving Oregon. He just got there. Fuente would be a great choice. I don't think he's leaving. So for me, if it's one of those guys, it's probably going to be one of the top 2 guys.
I will say this about Scott Frost and the Nebraska connection, all right? Scott Frost's offense isn't designed to work at Nebraska.
Right.
There's a reason they call it Big Ten football. It's 26 degrees in October. You line up 300-pounders, you run the football for the most part out of a pro set. So I don't know if Scott Frost, I think Scott Frost probably feels like he can come up the road in Florida and run this speed-based spread attack and do it a lot more effectively than he would if it were in Lincoln.
So we've already done it. We've hired a guy. We're done.
Just give me a checkbook.
Right now, go to Orlando, Scott Frost, bring him. How about that? Let's do that.
All right. Instead, let's do this. Let's come back and talk a little high school. We keep you informed on what's going on in the high school scene. There are a couple storylines that are here. We had a great matchup with Fletcher and Lee. And then this district with Ponte Vedra and Bowles and BK and Trinity is going to be a fun one to try and sort out. So a little high school ball talk. We have more Twitter time coming up later this show as well. You're watching 1010XL tonight.
Introducing the all-new delivery pouch from Pizza Hut. Thanks to 3 layers of thermal insulation, your pizza arrives oven hot. It's like having our oven right in your kitchen. Well, pretty close. Try it with the best pizza delivery deal. Large 2 topping, just $7.99. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Sawyer Gas.
I'm Barry Rainey, General Manager for Sawyer Gas. On behalf of all our employees, I want to thank our valued customers for their business. Here at Sawyer Gas, serving our customers in a safe and responsible manner is our top priority. We're proud to be a part of the local community and participate in the many activities that support local charities and organizations that improve the neighborhoods where we work, live, and play.
Sawyer Gas, driving every day with Sawyer Gas.
In order for there to be justice, we all need to have the opportunity to have equal access to the courts. For all of us to be able to have a voice against the powerful. At Harrell & Harrell, one of our goals is to be able to preserve what is good and right about our civil justice system. That's what we do.
Call 251-1111 to see if you have a case. Harrell and Harrell, don't settle for less than you deserve.
I don't know what you've been told. I don't know what you've been told. Where the best gear is sold. Where the best gear is sold. Tactical gear working more. Your Army, Navy outdoor store. Army, Army, Navy, Navy, Army, Navy.
Get all you need at Army Navy Outdoors. We're your tactical work and outdoor store. We carry a complete line of clothing and gear so you can have fun or work in comfort.
Army Navy Outdoors.
Chevy is the most awarded car company 3 years in a row.
Really?
Let's see how quickly you can read through all their awards.
Kelley Blue Book 2016 Best Resale Value.
U.S. News Best Car for the Money. 10 Best blah, blah, blah.
Only about 90 more to go.
Oh, gosh.
That's a lot of awards.
Great, now I'm going to have to go buy a new car.
Get 20% below MSRP on most 2017 Malibu, Cruise, and Trax models. That's over $5,300 on this Chevy Malibu. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
How did I get here? My life has been full of interesting choices. Remember me? Which one of you is horny? Which led me back here, living with my mom.
You deserve a cupcake.
Mom on CW17.
Welcome back to the program. Let's talk a little high school football now. Let's start with public school matchup. Old school now. Fletcher from the Beach, Lee from the West Side. I know you love the job O.J. Small's done at Lee. You talk about it a lot, and you're right. Another big win for the Generals.
Yeah, it's going to eliminate Fletcher from the playoff possibilities. But, man, the longer you do this, Frank, and the more you cover, it doesn't matter if it's high school, college, or pro. You get a difference-making coach in there, man, and you can get things turned around. And what O.J. Small has done at Lee has been very impressive, and it continued with a 20-6 win this weekend. The game that really caught my eye was Ponte Vedra rolling into Bowles.
How about that?
Beating the Bulldogs. You got a division over there with BK, Ponte Vedra, Bowles, and Trinity. And only 2 of them can get in. They got this new point system. Yeah, they're going to have the calculators out and the power polls because they're round robin beating each other. There's going to be a very unhappy school or 2 out of that list.
That's District 4-5A, and you're right. It's a very good district and good for Ponte Vedra. You don't go to win at Bowles very often. That was a great win for them.
It was. All right, meanwhile, I don't know if great win would be the word to describe what Miami's doing, but they keep on winning. And look, North Carolina is having a hideous year. They really have been one of the worst teams in college football. And they hung around with Miami for, probably half of this game and never got the doors blown off. But look, Mark Richt is doing what you have to do. You have to do just enough to, in this case, stay undefeated. It's going to be interesting to me to see where Miami falls when they unleash those playoff rankings tomorrow. And are we going to see one-loss teams like Ohio State ranked ahead of an undefeated team like Miami or Wisconsin?
We've seen teams like this Miami team before, Jeff. I think the Florida team in 06 that won a national title, we watched them the whole year. They didn't look like a great football team. At no time did they look great until you looked up and they'd won just about all their games. The Tennessee team in 98, remember that team won a national title? Didn't look like a great team until the end of the year when they had won all their games. Miami's one of these teams. They're not impressing people. They don't have to be impressive. What they have to do is win their games. Give Miami credit. If you find a way to win your games, that's all that matters. Miami keeps right on winning. They're not great, but they are good enough.
I'll give you another one. 2012 Florida, which was 11-1. It shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
They kept winning it. Quickly, let's talk a little World Series.
Man.
What about that game last night? Game
World
for
Series.
the ages last night. Dodgers and Astros really have delivered, and that was the Alex Bregman delivering the winning hit last night. I don't love high-scoring games like pitching duels, but I couldn't go to bed last night. That thing was an amazing finish last night.
You and me either, Chief, and I do a radio show at 6 in the
No,
morning.
you do.
So that 1:40 conclusion time is not sitting real well with me right now. The one complaint that I have is I understand during the week, and you need to attract a national audience, but on a Sunday, you can't start the game at 7. You got to start it at 8:30 on a Sunday night. Hey, baseball, way to take one of the best World Series we've seen since maybe last year, and not capitalize. Why would you start the game at 8:30? It doesn't make any sense.
Astros lead 3-2. The Dodgers come back, or the Astros hold on? Who wins it?
I think the Astros win it.
Verlander pitched.
I think the Astros win it. That's who I picked when this whole postseason began, so I'm going to stick with it, but I'm shaky on it.
Got to win with Verlander because they're not going to win a Game 7. Let's take a break. Almost out of time. More Twitter time. More of your thoughts coming up right after this on 1010XL tonight.
Before you sell your home, know the math. A $200,000 home, traditionally at a 6% commission, costs you $12,000. With First Coast Realty of Jacksonville, that same house with full service is listed for a flat fee of $575 plus 1% commission, which leaves a whole lot of savings for you. Full listing service for less. First Coast Realty of Jacksonville.
Introducing the all-new delivery pouch from Pizza Hut. Thanks to 3 layers of thermal insulation, your pizza arrives oven hot. It's like having our oven right in your kitchen. Well, pretty close. Try it with the best pizza delivery deal. Large 2 topping, just $7.99. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
I'm David Robbins with the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. When you or someone you know is arrested, you will go in front of a judge within a matter of hours, and the decisions you make at that time can have a serious and permanent impact on your life. Time is of the essence. That's why we're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to help. If you or a loved one is arrested, call Epstein & Robbins immediately. We can be by your side for those crucial moments. Visit FLDUIDefense.com. We're Epstein & Robbins, and we're here to help.
Memories start here with the 2017 Greater Jacksonville Agricultural Fair. Advance tickets are available right now at participating Walgreens or online at jacksonvillefair.com. Get your tickets now to the 2017 Greater Jacksonville Fair.
You've probably heard, if you drive a Subaru, you'll buy a Subaru. Well, at Jack Hanania's Subaru of Orange Park, it's much more personal than that. We ask questions and answer yours. Then, out of the hundreds in stock, we find the model and price that work for you. Finally, after we've given you all the service you deserve, plus 2 years complimentary maintenance, that's when you buy a Subaru. Buying a Subaru should be more than just driving one. It is at Subaru of Orange Park. We've got the new Subaru for you.
36 hours from now, all goes well, we'll have Jimmy back.
Tonight.
Prisoner exchange is too much of a political risk. The committee won't approve it. We gotta do something about this.
This unit's a family. This country divided as it is, Army's one of the only institutions we can still trust.
Let's get our boys back.
Valor, new drama, tonight at 9/8 Central on the CW.
Welcome back to 1010XL Tonight. I'm Donna Murphy. I have the experts right here ready for you. Frank Frangie, Jeff Prosser. They are ready to answer your questions. All you have to do is use the hashtag AskFrank and Jeff. So let's go on back to Florida and the coaching candidates, and let's hear from one of the Twitter followers. He wants to know, is Chip Kelly a serious possibility at Florida?
You know, Frank, I mean, on the surface, it's a hire that would probably make fans excited. It would give some buzz, but I don't think Chip Kelly will emerge as a serious possibility. I think Florida, just as they found a young Steve Spurrier ready to blossom, just as they found a young Urban Meyer ready to blossom, I think they need to find the young guy ready to blossom. And look, Chip Kelly's resume at Oregon is beyond impressive. So I don't think anybody would be disappointed if they did get him, but I think his bigger vision is the NFL, and I think you need to know that going in. So even if he's successful, it's going to be a shorter run than you'd want.
Totally
so
agree.
I'd say no.
I think he wants to be in the NFL. He has a show cause. I don't think Florida's going to go get a guy that has had a show cause. I say no to Chip Kelly. Scott Frost is Chip Kelly without the baggage. Go get Scott Frost. Donna, what else?
Well, you've talked about who you think could possibly be a candidate. Let's go with how long you think it will take. The question is, what kind of timeline should we expect for a possible head coaching hire?
I think sooner rather than later, Donna, because December 20th is now that early signing date. They've never had that before, so it changes the paradigm a little bit. This is the first elite job that's open since that's been in play. I think you're going to see a coach by the end of the regular season. I'd be shocked if it goes much longer.
I don't know the date, but you are dealing with guys that are currently coaches, so you have to be aware of that. But I do know this. It better be a date that is at least a day earlier than anybody else who's hiring a head coach, because that's the benefit of firing a guy now.
Donna, give us one more.
All right, now the Jags were off Sunday. However, it doesn't mean we have to ignore them. Who says the Jags are done before the trade season?
Almost out of time. What about Eric Ebron, the tight end for the Lions? Do anything for you?
Well, yeah. I mean, any tight end that can bring something to the passing game does something for him, but I wouldn't give up much for him.
All right, Jags may be done. They're going to be good. We'll talk more Jags coming up next week. That's our program. For Jeff Prosser, I'm Frank Frangie. So long.
Good night, everybody.
We're Pollo Tropical, where the freshest ingredients meet our time-tested recipes. Where our chicken is marinated in citrus juices and spices for 24 hours, then fire-grilled. where we make our food fresh every single day, and our chefs are adding more variety to our menu. For a limited time, get a quarter chicken and our new fresh barbecue ribs served with one side for just $7.49. We're Pollo Tropical, but you can call us Pollo.